Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm back with another journaling process for you guys. I am sticking with what I've been doing the last few months, and I'm working in my growth journal for the beginning of the month. So I am working with the current release from Creative Retreat Kits. This is fully known. I will have everything linked down below for you guys, including my unboxing if you want to see what all was released with this release. And so, like I said, like I've done in the past, I am working in my growth journal as a place to answer the reflection questions from the devotional. So as you can see here was last month's Perpetually Enough. You can see it just gives me a spot to just write everything out and have it in one place. So that's what I'm going to go for today. I'm going to do another just one page since that will balance out what I have going on here. But I did want to challenge myself for this entry. So typically I try to kind of mix and match and use a little bit of everything. The physical kit from Creative Retreat is amazing. The stamps, I do want to mention, these don't come in the kit. They did sell out, but I believe that she is going to be restocking these as soon as she can. But I love the physical items, the washi tape, the stencil, and you know me, normally I would try to incorporate that, but I wanted to kind of challenge myself this month and try to only use printables and some things from my stash. I wanted to try to keep this more budget friendly, especially for those of you who are in other countries and maybe aren't, ordering the physical product. You're just working with the digital product. I wanted to give you guys an option. So I've already gone ahead and cut out some of the items from the printable. This is something that you can purchase in the shop. It comes with 3 pages. You can see them in my unboxing. I've already gone ahead and kind of picked out the pieces I'll be using for today. This devotional card came with the physical kit, but you can also get this in the digital format, so you can just print it out and use it however you want. The nice thing about printing it out is you can print it on whatever you want. So I have here, I've gone ahead and cut out the reflection questions. Danielle is amazing and caught my note last month about separating the numbers from the text. You may need to go back and watch last month's video to understand what I'm talking about, but that way I can just go ahead and cut the questions out like I did here and just stick them right down into my notebook. So if you're printing, you can print these on sticker paper, pattern papers. I mean, you could do whatever. You could even just retype these out in a different font if you wanted to, but I'm just trying to keep it fairly simple, so I just cut them out. I am going to use some dies today. This is a new die set from Sizzix and Tim Holtz. I just got it on my doorstep today. I was kind of waiting for that to get here before I did this video. So I do want to use that, and then I'm also going to use some alpha dies. I usually mention when I do the unboxing that these swatches, these pattern swatches that come in the printables are great for using with alphabet dies. And so I wanted to kind of show you how I would do that. Now, I know when you're looking at this, you're like, Lindsay, that's not budget friendly. Dies can be kind of expensive. And yes, dies are definitely an investment, and it's something that I put off for a very long time because they were an investment, but they actually are a great investment if you're wanting to save money in the long run. So with just some paper and some kind of medium, whether that be watercolor or paints, gelatos, inks, I mean, there's so many different mediums you could color these with. So you don't even need to have colored cardstock. So you can just have white, watercolor paper or cardstock, something like that, and then color it however it needs to match your project. So you can use these again and again and again and again. It's not like just buying ephemera pieces that you only get to use once. So great investment. Alphas, like alpha stamps, are another fantastic investment. You can use these again and again. You can cut them out at different mediums, do different things with them. So yes, as far as price point, these seem a little bit higher than, just doing printables and doing something budget friendly. But this is a great way to kind of create your own ephemera, especially if you're just doing the printables. So I wanted to incorporate those today. So let me go ahead, put you guys on fast forward, and we'll put together this page in my growth book. All right, so I'm going to begin by die cutting all of my little pieces here. I am using some Distress White Heavy Stock cardstock. This is a nice heavy cardstock. And then what I was showing you on that die there is that these dies cut all the pieces for the flower all at once. So it has the highlight pieces and then the base piece. And the idea is that you're supposed to layer things up. For my sandwich, I'm using a base plate, one of the Magic Mat cutting plates, the cardstock, the dies, and then just one cutting plate on top. I ran that through twice, and then when I peeled that back, I could see it didn't cut all the way through this flower here, so I ran it through a couple more times. I found with the Magic Mat, you sometimes have to add a shim, or you have to go through like 3 or 4 times to get it to cut, but it does make it so that you're not having to replace cutting pads as often. And then I'm going to cut out a couple extra of the greenery pieces. I always feel like you can't ever have enough greenery pieces. And then I'm going to try to leave everything in place. I'm not going to pop it out quite yet, which is easier to do with this heavier cardstock. Everything kind of stays nestled down in there. And then I can go ahead and cut out my letters. So I'm going to be cutting that out of that faux washi that's in the printable. I love the gradient that's on there. And then this alpha, what I'm showing you on the right-hand side of it were all these little numbers, which means there are multiple of each letter. So I've already gone ahead and laid out the letters to spell out 1 through 5, and then just use some mint tape to keep everything aligned and together. I had laid those out across the strip of paper and then stuck the tape over them, and that way it would be easier to just keep everything together. Now I'm going to leave that as is. Now I did forget to add this, that's why I'm showing it to you. This is some double-sided adhesive. When I cut out those itty-bitty alphabets, it's better to adhere that to the back of the cardstock before you cut it. I forgot, but I'll show you a trick that works in place of that here in a second. But first we're going to color these flowers. Now you can cut these out of colored cardstock, cut the pieces out, but I have found this is kind of my favorite way to do it. Is just use white cardstock and then paint it. So I have some distress paints here. I have Dusty Concord. What's the violet one? I can't remember. Oh my goodness, guys. See, this is my stroke brain. I think I will have them listed down below. I'm not even gonna at this point attempt. Anyways, I just color matched some distress paints. And then I'm using a water brush to pick up that color and brush it onto the cardstock. And you can see I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not shading anything. This is not watercolor cardstock, so you don't want to get it like soaking wet. Wilted violet. That's the name of that color. Wilted violet. Anyways, you don't want to get it super wet because it's not watercolor paper, but it is really heavy. So you can just use a little bit of water that comes out of your water brush. I did mist the paper a little bit with water just so that the color wouldn't instantly seep into the paper. And like I said at the beginning, you can use watercolors, distress crayons, gelatos, ink pads, whatever you want to color these in. I like distress paints because they're meant to work with water. So they just instantly create some texture when you use them in this way, and so it gives this really just cool textured look to these pieces. Wild Honey is the color I'm using now, and then Scattered Straw, Peacock Feathers, Speckled Egg, and Black Soot. I got it, guys. Just had to take a moment. So I'm just doing this for all of these pieces. And like I said, it cuts them all out at once. And so I have the die set to the left over there just so I can kind of see. This is the first time I've worked with it. So I want to remind myself like what pieces are what. I did kind of miscolor one of the elements to the center of that big purple flower, but it ended up being okay in the end. It's not that many layers to have to put together, and the die kind of embosses or debosses lines into the base part, so it's easy to assemble the layers. And you can see them over the right-hand side. I went ahead and just glued everything together, layered it all up. There's videos out there. Tim has tutorials for this die set, so I didn't leave it in there just because it can be a little bit fussy just sticking all those little pieces down on that die. But once it comes together, you can see it's just a really pretty statement piece. And as far as the other pieces go, those labels are from the printable. That floral paper is from the printable. That's one of the swatches. And then these little die cut pieces were from the printable as well. So like I said at the beginning, I was trying to use just the printables. I just cut apart the questions. And at this point, I'm just kind of trying to stage things, see what all can fit on the page while also leaving me some space for journaling, because that's the whole purpose of this book. And the nice thing about this growth book is it does have a grid on there, so it makes it pretty easy to keep things lined up if you're like me and like things lined up. But now we're going to fuss with all of these little letters. So I'm going to peel off that tape, and some of them kind of pop out of the dies, so I lay them all out in the words. You can see I have one spelt out on the page there, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of mint tape, or mint tape is less sticky than washi tape, so I will link the mint tape down below. So I just use a little strip of that to pick up the letters all at once, add a little bit of liquid glue to the back, and then stick it down and then slowly peel the tape away. And that I have found is easier and quicker than trying to like one at a time lay down the letters. But again, like I said, when I cut them out, if you put the double-sided adhesive on the back of the cardstock, it would be easier too, because then you could just turn them into stickers. You pull the backing off, stick them down. It's pretty simple, but I forgot to do that. So this is just another way you can do it. And you can see here, I'm laying out the letters, and then I'll pick them up with some washi tape. It may be helpful to lay out the letters on like a like if you have there's that new like grip mat stuff that Tim Holtz did, maybe something like that, or like shelf liner, something like that. Maybe a little bit easier to lay out those letters and not have them wiggling around as much. But I went ahead and just did that for all the titles there, just using the washi tape method to lay it down, get it glued down. And then I decided to go in with a very fine tip micron pen to outline the letters just so they would stand out a little bit more. Now, there's a lot of variance in that washi strip in the printable. It goes from like yellow to purple, and on camera it doesn't look so much like you can see that with those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you can in person. You can see the variance between each word, which is really fun. It pulls in all the colors from the kit and kind of worked out. So now I'm just layering everything up again, just making sure I have plenty of room to do my journaling there. I always put the title so I can remember the title of this particular kit, and then I'll make a little cluster. Definitely not necessary, but you know, sometimes this is just a place to experiment, play with things. Like I said, I just got this die laying on my doorstep today, so I thought, you know, I'm going to play with it. This is a perfect opportunity to play with it, get a feel for it before I use it in, you know, my Bible or a bigger project like that. Like I said, I missed one of the centerpieces to the big purple flower, and now I know for next time when I go to color it, I need to just pay attention to that. And so this is just a good place to kind of test things out and play around, but it does not have to be fussy. And this was a great way to show you guys how to use just the printables. I mean, I didn't even pull in the stamp set. Usually I'll pull in the stamp set, but I did not this time. But stay tuned, later in the month, I will be using the kit for a Bible journaling process. Now I'm just adding in a few of those little flowers from the printable, and that is going to be it. Super simple, plenty of room to write out my response questions to the Fully Known devotional. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. You can check out the description box below the video for links to everything that I used and mentioned today. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.